Hi everybody, it's Geordie from Geordie's Cards. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am creating this super fun shaker card today featuring lots of Heffy Doodle products. I don't know if you saw my Instagram stories recently, but I had some exciting news that I am now a member of the Heffy Doodle design team. So although this is not for the design team, this is just one that I was making just to play around with some of the new products that I got, but I just wanted to share that little bit of news with you. So I am using the Be Hoppy stamp set and the coordinating dies, the Showtime Frames dies, the Ripple Waves stencil, and this Jump for Joy sentiment, this the giant sentiment. So I have coloured and cut out all of my little images. I've cut out that sentiment and I've used my Copic markers to colour it in. I used the same coloured markers that I used for my little frogs so that everything coordinates together. And I just couldn't resist making this card today. These little frogs are so cute, and it was such a fun one to make. So with that Showtime Frames die, I have cut this little panel. So this little inside piece here that I've used stitches on the inside and the outside. So you can use the positive or the negative. So I'm using the negative today, and I've used a 5.5 by 4 1/4 piece of cardstock. And this is Kiwi Crush cardstock from Heffy Doodle. And then I just cut the center out with that Showtime's Frames die. And now I have a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock, which also measures a 5.5 by 4 1/4. And I'm using this new Ripple Waves stencil on it. I've been so excited to try this one out. Yeah, if you follow my channel, you know that I love the Wave to Me stencil, which is also a Heffy Doodle one. And I've used it loads, but this is kind of like the brand new spanking version of it. And I couldn't resist having a play with it today. So I'm using some Salty Ocean Distress Oxide ink, and I'm just going in fairly heavy-handed. Being careful, it's quite a delicate stencil, so I don't want to shift it around too much as I'm blending this on here. But I was so excited to see what it looks like when you lift it up, and I was not disappointed. It's such a cool stencil. And it really does make this look like water. It's incredible. So here we go. Look at that. How cool is that? I just love it. And obviously you could go to town with using different colors and splattering detail on it. I just left it pretty plain today. So I've cut a piece of Heffy Doodle acetate that measures 5.5 by 4 1/4. This acetate is awesome. It's really nice and thick and strong. And I'm going to, as I say, create a shaker card. You know, I love a shaker card. So I'm using some Lawn Fawn double-sided tape here to go all the way around the edge of my frame, and I'm going to pop that acetate onto the back of this green cardstock here. So this is a very green card today. I probably should have made this one for St. Patrick's Day, shouldn't I? But yeah, these little frogs are just so cute, and I really wanted to try out this Showtime Frames die. There's loads of dies in this set, so I've only used one of them, but I just thought it's such a cool shape, and it makes such an interesting kind of focal panel for the card. So all I'm doing now is just laying that acetate onto that double-sided tape there and lining this all up so that I get a nice strong front panel for my shaker. Okay, so now I'm just taking all of my little elements and I'm going to place them all down and figure out where I'm going to put them before I adhere them down permanently. Excuse any noise in the background. It is the school holidays here, and my kids are bored already. It's only day 2 and they're already bored. You know what it's like. So yeah, there's a lot of noise going on. There's a lot of interruptions. The crafting time is kind of minimized, definitely. But I'm just popping all of my little frogs. I did stamp and colour every single frog from the stamp set. I was determined to use them all because they're just so cute. I can't decide which is my favourite, and they're all adorable. So I kind of, once I'd figured out where I roughly wanted to put everything, I decided to stick everything down. So in the interests of trying to keep everything clean without getting glue smeared everywhere, I decided to use tape runner today for this. And this is really strong tape runner. It really sticks, as you can see. It's really sticking to my fingers. And I was a bit worried about trying to line this up nicely in the center. I think it turned out pretty good. probably not perfect, but you know what, it's fine. So I stuck that down first, stuck that sentiment down first, and now I'm just going to go ahead and stick everything else down with that same tape runner here. And it does kind of get all over my mat and everything like that, but it's quite easy to kind of just rub off with your fingers and it all kind of comes off again, so it doesn't leave any major messes in the end. So I'm sticking these little cattails in the bottom corners, and then I have the 2 lily pads and the 2 little frogs that are going to sit on top of my lily pads. So I did want to stick this lily pad behind that kind of cattail there, but I'd already stuck the cattail down, so that didn't work. But that's okay, I just popped everything else down, and I'm going to have these 2 frogs sitting on top of these lily pads. I did swap one of them out. I decided to use that one that's holding the lily pad up as kind of like an umbrella. I decided to put him down at the bottom because he was a bit larger, and I'm going to put that other one up there on top of the M. And then this little guy is going to sit on the smaller lily pad over here. There's so many cute little accessory images with this stamp set as well. There's like party hats and cake, and there's a little fly. I didn't use any of those little pieces. I will definitely use them in a future video. But these frogs are just so cute. So that little guy that kind of looks like he's doing yoga is sitting on top of my Y there. And then, of course, the jumping frog is up there in the top left-hand corner. And that is kind of the front panel all complete. I'm just rubbing up all that excess tape that I managed to get everywhere. And now I'm pulling out my white Sakura Jelly Roll pen, and I'm just going to add a few little highlight details to the letters of my Jump for Joy sentiment, just to make them pop a little bit more and make it stand out. As I say, this is a very green card today, so it's all very color coordinated. But I think it worked really, really nicely, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Initially, I had thought about doing kind of more of a greenish color water for my base panel, but I decided it was far too much green and went with the blue salty ocean instead. And I'm really glad I did that, because I think the green would have been too much. And that blue gives a nice pop in the background. So once that is all done, I'm going to pull out my Heffy Doodle foam strips here. I love these double-sided foam adhesive strips. They are the perfect size for making shaker cards. They're deep enough that you don't have to double them up, and they measure 5.5 inches long, so which is perfect for creating my panel here. So I'm just taking the thicker size of these and going around the edge of my ink blended panel. I know this might seem a little bit kind of back to front perhaps. You could obviously put the adhesive to the frame, but I just decided that this was the easiest way for me to do it. And I'm just kind of making sure obviously that there's no gaps all the way around, and it just fits fits perfectly. It's as I say, it measures 5.5 inches long, so I do have to trim down the shorter edges, but the longer edges you can just pop straight on, which is perfect. So once I have that in place, I pulled out my powder tool and just went all the way around the edges with the powder tool, just to make sure that there was no kind of stickiness kind of sticking out, and that my shaker mix could get stuck on. So I'm just going all the way around, and then my little boy interrupted me and I didn't film the rest of it, but basically I used this gorgeous Pixie Hollow shaker mix, and I just popped that inside, and then popped the frame piece with all my little frogs on top. So pretty straightforward, but I'm sorry I cut that bit off. Now I have a standard size white card base. It measures 5.5 by 4.25, and I'm going to stamp this sentiment, "Hope your birthday is unforgettable," along with that little frog in the inside of my card. And now I'm pulling out my Heffy Doodle glue to adhere that panel onto the front of the card. And that is it, the card is done, and I really love how this one turned out. I think it's so cute, it's so much fun. Obviously I had to shake it around a bit more here in a second, but it's so bright and colourful. It's very green, but I think it works really, really well, and those frogs are just adorable. So I hope you enjoyed this one today. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. Please feel free to leave a comment. I would love to hear from you, and please do subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you come back again. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care.